Jeff Wilson started covering the Texas Rangers in 2008, though he'll never forget 2021. Out on his own, he decided it was time to do a podcast, but his wheels were spinning until a nerd came along. There's no going back now. Welcome to the Texas Rangers Baseball Podcast. Here's your host, Jeff Wilson, and the recliner nerd himself, John Moore.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. This is episode number 82, and today Ron Washington is going to join us he is in Toronto, and if you notice, the camera's on me, and then we're going to go to a wide shot. We're having a little technical difficulty. Jeff broke a camera.
Yeah, I don't know. It was my face, I think. But whatever, we got it under warranty, so we're going to send that bad boy back and get us a new one.
That's absolutely, and that's fine. It doesn't matter because we got to get into some big league stuff. But how did this come about? Ron Washington, this is huge for me.
Well, you know, Ron was manager for my first season on the beat, which is 2008. He started in 2007. I was there until he left, and we're just buddies. You know, I mean, you make friends in the game, and Wash and I always got along. I mean, he's so down to earth.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's his friend. He doesn't.
Well, I can't wait to.
He doesn't take the high road. You know, and doesn't look down on people. He's just a good man, and all the stuff he does some stuff for Do It for Dirt. You know,
right.
If you've ever been to one of our events, I'd say a third of the stuff we sell is from Ron Washington, just going around the country collecting stuff. So,
yeah.
He's just a good person. Loved his time in Texas. Hated that he had to leave. Loves coming back.
Yeah.
Still lots of friends. You know, Mike Maddox, obviously one of his buddies, John Daniels. They still talk a lot. I think he has a pretty high opinion of Bruce Bochy.
Yeah.
So he's just a good person. And so I asked him, the Braves are coming to town. I figured, hey, what the heck? It'd be a perfect time to get him on.
Man, I can't wait to meet Ron. When I guess it was last year when they were here, I went down and went over by and heard him kind of talk to somebody, but I never introduced myself. He didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So I can't wait this time after we talk to him Monday to go over and meet him in person because
it's a treat.
You tell me how great a guy is.
It's a treat.
I'm going to find out how great a guy he is here in a little bit when he comes on, because you're the one that always talks about, man, this is one of your favorite people in the world.
And I've talked to John Daniels and some other people about this. A conversation with Ron Washington is the highlight of your day.
That's awesome.
He just makes people feel so good, and engages with you, and you laugh, and it's just great. So
I can't wait. I just can't wait.
It's pretty neat that he's coming on. I'm really happy that he agreed to do it. So yeah, but we gotta do our stuff first.
Yep, that's right. By the way, that segment by Ron, we'll do that when we get to there, is going to be brought to you by the Frisco Rough Riders, who we were out there last night.
That's
Let's
right.
talk about the big league club. We got to get into this. Look, we're about halfway through May. We've gone through April. We're about halfway through May. This is a good damn baseball team.
Yeah.
I don't know that they'll hold this up and that they will win the West. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a long damn baseball season.
Yeah.
But this team is a damn good baseball team.
Oh, I agree. The offense has been terrific.
Without Corey Seager.
Who we saw last night, the starting pitching's been very good.
Without Jacob deGrom.
Right now, yeah. They still can be better. The bullpen needs some help, I think.
It's okay. Josh Boers is there. We'll get into that in a minute.
And but yeah, I mean, you turn on the TV or in our case, we go to the ballpark, and you expect to win.
Right.
It's just entirely different, and it's just a different vibe. The players feel it. Hats off to Chris Young for what he did, and John Daniels too. Gets a lot of credit for the last offseason when they brought in Seaman and Seager, and then Chris out on his own somehow landed Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi, who's just been unbelievable.
So's Haney's been good.
Haney's been good. It's just the right things are happening right now. Jonah Heim, that trade in 2001, February of 2001. I was at my son's basketball game. Had to leave the Elvis Andrus trade. There've been a lot of hands involved in this good start. Pro scouting, amateur scouting, Josh Young, and then obviously ownership open up their wallets and get some money. But Nate Lowe's another pro scouting victory. So Adolis Garcia is a pro scouting victory. There's a lot of good things that have come together. It's not just money, although money helps.
Yeah,
but yeah, this is just refreshing after what the Rangers and the fans have been through here the last 6 years. It's been rough, and I've been there for most of them, and
I've been there for 5 of them. This is my fifth year. Yeah,
but it's been rough, and
well,
it's nice for us. It's nice for everybody. It's always better to tell happy stories, and it's always
they're always better when they're winning.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. We this is our 82nd episode, and for about 75 of them, this team's been pretty bad.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what to talk about. We don't know what to do with ourselves.
We got into this when we were coming into the winter. We had, after the signings they made, we were all getting excited for spring training, thinking this could be a better team.
Yeah.
None of us expected this, where they're playing right now.
Yeah.
And I'm still saying, look, guys, this is going to happen. This team will go through where they win 3 out of 10. They're just going to go through a stretch.
Yeah, they're going to have a Cincinnati series.
Yeah, they're going to have a Cincinnati. That's always going to happen.
The bullpen is going to blow leads. The thing about relievers, they only have to pitch an inning. I get it, but relievers aren't perfect.
No,
and that's just nobody is. And Ron Washington, he may say it, he may not. There is no perfection in baseball. That was always a saying. There's no perfection in this game.
Exactly.
Perfection in this game. And
there
just isn't.
Well, their road trip right now, too, is, what are they? They're 5-2 on the road trip so far.
5-2.
It's Friday, by the way. They're in Oakland. They won last night.
May 12th.
Vivaldi was good.
Pretty good. It's and they're winning. They're winning series against the West.
Yes,
against the division. They're winning series at places they haven't won series in several years. Houston and Seattle.
Right.
It's just different, and it's good. And I'm sure Wash will talk about, though, length of the season.
Yeah.
Got to finish.
Yeah. Things
like that. So, but anyway, we were out there last night in Frisco. Saw Corey Seager, first pitch fly out.
He swung at the first pitch, yeah.
Then I think his next at bat, he saw 4 pitches, hit a ground ball that went for a double that the first baseman should have had.
He smoked it. Don't get me wrong. He
hit it hard.
Yeah, he had some exit VO.
A major league first baseman makes that play.
Yeah.
And then his last at bat, he flew out to the warning track. Looked good, from what I can tell.
Ran the bases. He looked okay.
Ran the bases. Yeah, they weren't pushing it, and don't expect him to be trying to
steal bases.
Yeah, set the world record in the 100 every time he hits a ground ball to the shortstop or to second base. It's going to look a lot like Adrian Beltre probably when Beltre would come back early.
He wouldn't run it out hard when he knew that
it's managing. A hamstring isn't going to go away. And Corey, I tried to press him on the, hey, what are you feeling? Do you think
I liked his answer.
Are you going to be 100%? He said, I'll be ready to go.
That's what he said.
So that's fine, and
I'll be ready to play.
Yeah, and he'll be ready. And Rangers theoretically are going to get better, right? I mean, you're adding back a premier bat into a lineup that's one of the best in baseball,
and you don't lose the other bat, which most likely I think most of us would guess will just move out to left field.
Yeah, Ezekiel Duran will not be going back to the bench or a part-time role.
No.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm assuming Sam Huff will be the move, and Corey. You didn't read Rangers Today this. For whatever reason, it is only $5.99 a month, or $60 for a year, or $35 for 6 months. We were the only ones out there, and so we have Corey talking about he's planning to be back for the Braves series.
Right.
This show will hopefully debuting before the Braves series open. That's why we're having Wash to kind of talk about the Braves a little bit, and then but if Seager's back and Duran's in left and this lineup just got deeper. It got better. You still have Mitch Garver, who's going to come back.
Yep. And what's the deal? What's the status on him?
He's going to be end of the month, I think, or May 23rd, something like that.
Is the knee still bothering him? Or?
I don't think so. I think they're just being ultra cautious.
Because they want him to catch. I mean, not that Jonah Heim's going to sit half the time.
Yeah.
But they want the backup catcher to be Mitch Garver to come in. He'll be DHing a lot, probably playing a little first.
Yeah, he's going to play more than Sandy Leone.
Right. And, exactly. He'll be in the lineup a lot during the week. Yeah.
Yeah, but by June 1st, you can have Seager, Mitch Garver, and Jacob deGrom back, and that's being fully loaded for the first time since opening day. So, if they can get through this stretch, the Braves are a good team. They're playing Oakland right now.
In the Braves, AL, the Tampa Bay is the
right.
team of the AL. So,
but, I mean, the Rangers have the third best record in the AL behind Tampa and Baltimore, I believe.
Right.
So, and then the Braves have the second best record in the game. So, the Rangers are a top 5 team if you look at the record, if you look at run differential, if you look at ERA, stuff like that.
Power rankings finally has them in the 6 right now.
That's still too low.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's and maybe they don't believe it.
Maybe if they take 2 out of 3
fine.
from Atlanta at home,
but it's good. To your original point, it's good.
Yeah.
And it's going to get better with Seager coming back.
Yeah, it only gets better when they come back, and don't freak out. Seager comes back and they lose 2 out of 3 or lose a series or something like that. It is not Corey Seager's fault. It has nothing to do with that.
Braves are pretty good.
No, the Braves are pretty good, and I tell you what, I as a fan, if you're not excited about, and let's think about the two teams. Everybody was high on the Cowboys and the Mavericks, who spit the bit. And the Stars and the Rangers are really playing good right now.
Yeah.
And it's been fun for Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex as a sports fan. But as a baseball person like you and me, and you cover this team and I cover this team, but I'm also the fan of this team, this is a fun time to be a Ranger fan.
And hockey and basketball seasons end before football season begins. So,
right.
So all you have for 2 or 3 months
is baseball.
And I know Cowboys will go to training camp, and that'll take a lot of the spotlight. But the only thing is baseball.
And when they're good, it's better.
They're good, it's great.
Great.
It's a good activity. You bring the kids out. Games are faster now.
Yes.
And it's fun to see the team win.
Yep.
And so, but it's not just one person doing it. It's a lot of people who are contributing, including Josh Spores.
Yep. Okay, I got to get into my. I come at it always from a fan perspective. Fans have been hard on Josh Spores, and so have I. I've been amazed.
Rightfully so. And I've been amazed that he has, I called it the DFA jiu-jitsu. I don't know how to say that. Jiu-jitsu.
Anyway, that he's gone through where it certainly seemed like this was the guy that was going to be the candidate to be DFA'd.
Sure.
But it goes to show you that, and you would tell me, they see something there. There's something there. They're going to hide him because I don't think they're quite ready. It shows you that major league front offices, scouting, and people, when they see something, until it's just no longer you can do it anymore, they know more than we do. Yeah. It's really, I always do armchair GM. It's really easy to be an armchair GM and think that guy should be gone. But I got to tell you, Wednesday, he came in a leverage situation. That should have been a Jose Leclerc situation. Mm-hmm. They brought in Josh Spores, struck out 2, I think, of the 3. And look, man, the fastball was 97, 98 miles an hour. The slider was breaking off good. I mean, I was going, and that's twice he's done that. That's 2 times he's come in and been good. I think he walked somebody his first the 2 times ago when he came out. But that's a guy right now that, and call it Bochy or whatever, that knows who he thinks he can put in a situation. Mm-hmm. Is Josh Spores the answer? No, he's not the answer to this team. He's not going to be the back end of the bullpen. But good Lord, you know what, Josh? I apologize. Keep doing what you're doing, and that arm. I don't care when you're throwing high 90s. It's a little more difficult than when you're throwing in the low 90s.
Yeah,
to see the ball.
He didn't pitch well enough to make the team in spring training.
Nope.
He's out of options.
Right.
So all of a sudden he had an ankle injury.
Right.
He goes down to AAA. And works and gets it figured out. He just could not throw a strike in spring training. He was all over the place. And when he's good and when he's competitive and when his fastball's competitive in the strike zone, it's good. It's a 98 mile per hour fastball. It's got good characteristics. I mean, it's a pitch that the Rangers like and believe in. He's obviously a good person, which is qualifier for Rangers players. It seems like with Chris Young, they didn't want to lose the arm, and so they managed the situation. He's here, and it may be the start of something. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that Mike Maddox has turned a reliever into a struggling reliever into a quality piece. And maybe that's what we're seeing right now, but it's it still doesn't. He's still not the solution to the bullpen's problems. He's I want to say a temporary fix because we might be seeing the best of Josh Sborz, but
sure.
The Rangers, if there is an Achilles heel, it's the back end of the bullpen. There's not a lot of depth there. I don't know. Ian Kennedy, who was just designated for assignment, he never became that guy. They kind of thought he might in spring training. Somebody
usable, serviceable,
in leverage innings, leverage situations. It just didn't work out. And I don't know. John King has come up. I don't know that that's going to work out. They need. I mean, John's good, but he's not going to pitch in the eighth inning.
No, he was a candidate too to be DFA. And I tell you right now, as it stands, if they needed another 40-man spot, I think of Sborz and King. King's probably the odd guy out now.
King has options.
He does have options.
So
okay, all right.
I mean, I think if they absolutely need a 40-man spot, I think they could probably part ways with Sandy Leone, and because Sam Huff is on the 40-man, and he can come up and fill the need until Garver comes back. So there is a little wiggle room.
They have an open spot right now on the 40-man.
So right,
because Kennedy's gone.
But anyway,
yeah.
So. But yeah, the bullpen, they need Leclerc to get better. That needs to be solved internally. They can't go out and replace the whole bullpen at the trade deadline.
No,
they can try. I mean, but they do need to get some internal help, and Josh Sborz is supplying it right now.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the meltdown Friday in Anaheim after the Wednesday messing of the bed by Jose Leclerc kind of had people frazzled. That Cincinnati series was still fresh on their minds. So, but the Seattle series, the bullpen held up fine late. Will Smith came in Thursday night at Oakland and got the last out in what was kind of a tough situation against the guy who's the A's best hitter at the time. So, it was that you like I said, there's no perfection in baseball. And these relievers aren't going to be perfect. And you just
they don't have a true closer right now. They just don't.
Yeah, and you just kind of have to wear it. It's part of a season.
The only guy on this team that could become right now, I think, a true closer is possibly Hernandez, and that's if he gets his stuff together because of his stuff that might play that way. But they really just don't have a true closer on this team.
Yeah. I think there's concern that Hernandez doesn't strike out enough guys.
Right.
But he got a big strikeout the other day in Seattle. But it's 98 mile per hour sinker. It's a pretty good slider. It still needs to be refined. Brock Burke has pitched pretty well back there too. And I don't know, people get nervous about left-handed closers like Will Smith, but
they
have a couple options, and whoever's getting the
got to get 27 outs.
Exactly. That is exactly right. So
you got to get 27 outs, and you know what? One day, Nathan Eovaldi just decided he'd get all 27 himself.
That's right.
He almost did it again last night.
That's right. He got 26.
Boy, you talk about a guy that's put a team on his back.
Yeah, that's pretty good stuff, his last three starts. And I was thinking, well, he's going to be the May pitcher of the year if he keeps this up.
Or the month
which
of
he
May.
is, or the month of May, whatever I said. But that first shutout was in April. So, but he's at 28 and 2/3 scoreless innings, consecutive scoreless innings. He struck out a career high 12. Didn't walk a guy until his last batter. Just a premium strike thrower, which is something that really, really can't. It can't play.
That's why Jacob deGrom's so good.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you can throw 98 miles an hour, or you can throw 100, but if you're not in the strike zone, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And that's why Jacob deGrom's so good.
Well, I mean that Japanese kid who pitched for the A's in the series here, he threw a fastball at 102 in the first inning.
Right.
He was gone by the second.
Yep.
Or the third. He was all over the place. So,
Yep.
I mean, you can have 102 miles per hour in your back pocket, but if you can't throw it for a strike, you're going to get knocked around. So,
yeah, exactly.
Anyway, and that's something we'll talk about in Friday on the forum. When we get there. But let's do Wash.
Let's get Wash right there. Hey, Ron Washington coming on. He's brought to you by the Frisco Rough Riders. Frisco Rough Riders, we were out there last night. You guys need to go out. We had a great time. It was great this weekend. Well, you may have already seen this before that, but Frisco Rough Riders sponsoring our segment that's coming up, Double A for the Texas Rangers, and man, what a great time to go out there. Take your family. It's cheap. It's a great way to enjoy some great baseball, and you're going to see some major league players that are playing on that squad. But right after this, we're going to go to Ron Washington, so hang on.
The guest segment on the Rangers Day Baseball podcast is brought to you by the Frisco Rough Riders, the Double A affiliate for the Rangers. They are in the middle of a 2-week homestand. They will be home again after a Monday off day on the 15th, beginning the 16th through the 21st against Amarillo. They're the Sod Poodles. Anyway, Jack Leiter is scheduled to pitch on Wednesday the 17th. Owen White would pitch on the next day, the May 18th, which is a Thursday, which is always Thirsty Thursday out at the Riders Field. Post game fireworks on the 19th. Kids are on the bases on the 20th. And then, as always, the Kids Sunday Fun Day on the 21st. Get out to Frisco and check them out.
All right, guys, and joining us right now from Toronto, where the Atlanta Braves are taking on the Toronto Blue Jays, it's former Texas Rangers manager who led them to 2 World Series, and now he's the third base coach for the Atlanta Braves. This one's exciting for me. I've been dying to meet Ron and talk to him. It's Ron Washington. Ron, what's going on, sir?
Not very much. Staying healthy, enjoying the first month of the season, and really just enjoying what I do, and that's be a part of the game of baseball.
You guys are playing your butts off, Ron. What's going on there? You guys are about to run away with this thing.
Well, me personally, I'm old school in the sense that this is the first time in 3 years that we had a full spring training. Mm-hmm. We had the full 6 weeks, and in my opinion, it made a difference. So it made a difference in us coming out, getting a great start, rather than having to fight to catch up. So I think that's the difference. So we have the same personnel. But we just had a better time in spring training to be prepared.
Yeah, that's something you and I had talked about. The quality of baseball has been down a little bit. Really ever since the COVID thing, you start and stop and had that abbreviated spring training. Are you guys, you just answered it. It sounds like you guys feel like you're playing good ball, but this has been a process. COVID was a real thing, and it affected the game.
It did affect the game. Like you said, we had the 2.5 to 3 years where we just didn't get the full thing. Although we ended up playing ball, and last year we did have a 162 game schedule, but still coming out of spring training, we didn't have a full spring. This year, it's a big difference, Having those 6 weeks is important. Those young kids, the whole time we were down in Florida, they was talking about spring training is too long. I said, shut up. You don't know anything about baseball. It's always been a beginning, and it's always been an end. And you think about the beginning when you arrive, and you work till the end, and you deal with everything in between. And they really stopped coming down, to the backfield where I am, talking about the length of spring training. The length of spring training is very important. It's the best time of the year for me.
Yeah. I think you guys surprise a lot of people by not naming Vaughn Grissom as your shortstop.
Well, from the beginning, when we was trying to get Vaughn ready to compete, and we did say we was getting him ready to compete for the job, he came in and he showed tremendous improvement. But Orlando Arcia, who's a quality shortstop when he was in Milwaukee, he took the job. Yeah. And there's still a lot that Vaughn has to learn. And we also mentioned that if Vaughn was to become our shortstop, there would be learning curves. Sure. He wasn't trying to learn shortstop at the minor league level. He was trying to learn shortstop at the big league level. And for that to happen, the organization and everyone else have to have patience. Mm-hmm. Well, we're a team that has a chance to win a World Series. And we'll have patience at times, but this was one time that the organization felt like we needed to have something quality out there that's ready to play. So Vaughn is not out the picture. It's just so much about the game of baseball that he has to learn. He's only had 2.5 years of professional baseball under his belt.
Yeah.
And if you're going to have a guy that has a chance to be your shortstop, you have to have patience. The same way Houston had patience with that kid in Houston. In the beginning, he wasn't very good, but they had no choice. They stayed with him, and he learned. He learned from his mistakes. And that's what the game of baseball is about, going through things and learning from it. If you don't have the experience, and Vaughn don't have the experience, but he is a talented player. And one day he is going to be a shortstop.
Mm-hmm. Now, I remember when Elvis Andrus broke in with the Rangers, you guys corrected him on the spot, and he had played shortstop his whole career. He wasn't learning a new position, but and you guys, like 2009 was the year that you kind of built toward 2010 and 11, but if Elvis made a bad throw or made too many bad throws, he came out of the game. I mean, you guys, I remember that. I remember it happening in Baltimore very specifically. And
the thing with that, Jeff, is people just don't understand what goes on behind the scene. Mm-hmm. I had Omar Vizquel on the team when he first came up, and Elvis would play tremendous shortstop for 7 innings, and then in the 8th and 9th inning, he would make mistakes when we couldn't afford him to make mistakes. We called him in, and I called Vizquel in with him. And I told Elvis Andrus, you can play, man, but if you keep making mistakes like you are in the 8th and 9th inning, you're going to be a 7-inning shortstop. I'm going to put Omar in. Well, that woke Elvis up. All of a sudden, Elvis already had the talent. He already had the skill set. His focus and his concentration when he got late in the game got away from him. But sometimes you have to shock him back. And I shocked Elvis back. and from that point on, he became a complete shortstop. I'm talking 9 innings. He already had the tools and the skill set. I'm talking about 9 innings is a complete shortstop.
There have been a lot of, I've seen you do it, but there have been a lot of videos, the last couple of years of you going through your process, starting on the knees. What is the most important? What is the most number one fundamental infielder has to have?
He has to have good hands and feet sinking. The hands and the feet has to sync up. And my knee drills on my knees is mainly to get the hands moving in the directions they have to move in when ground balls are hit to them. And then when we get on our feet, we have to, wherever the feet go, the hand follows. The hand precedes the feet according to the angle you're taking to the ball. And that's what that develops. And through repetition, which the game of baseball is totally about repetition, through the repetition, all of a sudden you start to syncing things up. But it all starts with the hands on your knees and understanding the angles you have to use your hands. It's easy to get the feet involved. Mm-hmm. And that's what it's about. And they take 96 balls before they hit the field to take their ground balls. 96, where there's no stress and you're working on technique. Uh-huh. And then when we hit the field, we put our technique in and it syncs up. It's I'm not going to say magic because I don't work magic, but
yeah, you do.
It helps. Yeah, it helps.
You spin gold. You've spun a lot of gold glovers is what you've done.
Well, I think those guys that got the gold gloves, they deserve all the credit because the thing about a coach or a mentor, you can be the best in the world. But if those guys can't go out there and apply what you're trying to give them, how good a coach are you? I know I'm good at what I do, but the credit goes to those players. I'm just a guide.
One of those players, he didn't win Gold Glove under you, but he did eventually, is Marcus Semien, who is off to a hell of a start for the Rangers. When he signed, he considers you one of his mentors. What kind of guy is Marcus? We're getting to know him a little bit more, but what makes Marcus tick and what makes him
He's
special?
A top-notch individual. He's a tremendous teammate. He cares about his teammates. His work ethic is off the chart. He wants to be exactly what he portrays himself to be. That's why he's quality. He's the best pupil that I've ever had. And I say that because when I met Marcus didn't even know how to use the second base bag. He had no idea how to go in a hole and get his feet together to make a throw. He had no idea how to throw balls on the run. Yeah, he would do it according to what he thought it should look like, but he just didn't have the technique down on how to do it. Mm-hmm. And when I first met Marcus, I told Marcus I could help him to understand and get where he want to get as a player, but he have to put in the work. If you're not willing to put in the work, then we spinning our wheels. Marcus decided he was going to put in the work, and it didn't happen right away. He go out there and play games, and after the game, I'll get with him and we'll talk about the things that went wrong and the things that went right. We didn't just talk about the negative; we talked about the positives and the things that went right, the things that went wrong, how you correct them. And every day he stayed in the process and he corrected those things. And after he and I was together for a year, coming into the next year, he had been through everything you're supposed to go through as a shortstop. So then when things started happening the next year, he already knew about it because he had been through it. That's what you call gaining experience. And that's all Marcus needed. That's why the Oakland A's, Billy Beane, Bob Melvin, and Dave Force was willing to have the one thing that's sort of missing in the game today, patience. They had patience. Yeah. And I had talked to Bill and Bob, and I told them, you got to have patience. If you have patience, we'll get this kid where he needs to get. And they showed patience. And that's why Marcus is where he is today, because of the patience that the Oakland A's showed to him and his being able to apply the things that he got along the way. And all he did was take it and got better and better and better.
Yeah, my first ever, I guess I talked to Marcus in Oakland, and then you guys came to town, and this is pretty funny. This is my first Marcus story. You, Ron, and me and Anthony Andro were just cutting it up, having a good time before the early work, and we were just talking and lost track of time like we normally do. And then Marcus came down and looked, and you looked over, and it was time to go, and you said, "All right, Marcus, let's do this." And you said, "Wait, run up there and give me a cup of coffee." And he did. And when the first time we met him, I asked him about that. He said, "Of course I'm going to go get him a cup of coffee. He's helping me out. I got to help him out." Anyway. Well,
that was just to give you, myself, and Anthony a little more time to finish.
That's right, man. That's right. Yeah, you had wisdom to impart on us. Shoot.
Yeah.
Hey,
I was giving you guys your time also.
That's right. We appreciate it. One of the Braves' best players is Ronald Acuna Jr., whose little brother. I don't know if you had a chance to meet him. He's with Frisco. He had a home run last night. He's going to be out there Monday, so maybe you can meet him Monday. He's a good little infielder, Wash. But Ronald, and I know what I'm about to say is comparing apples and oranges, but Ronald's a talented guy. Who's the most talented Rangers player you had? Was it Josh Hamilton?
The most talented player that I had was Josh, because Josh was 5'2", and it showed every night. And if you kept Josh in the right frame of mind, you knew every day you was going to see something special, and he did. But Josh was only able to show that speciality that he had because of the people that was around him also. Mm-hmm. I mean, Beltre was special. You talked about Elvis Andrus earlier. He was special. Kinsler was special. Mitch Moreland was special. Michael Young was special. Napoli was special. Cruz was special.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we can go on and on and on. That's the type of kids that I had. And each and every one of them made each and every one of them better. So Josh was able to shine because of the people that was around him. And they cared about him. They were tremendous teammates to him. They did anything they could to make sure that Josh could be on the field because he was a special talent. He really was. He really was.
Yeah, the year he won the MVP, that stretch he had in July was probably the best I've ever seen a player play. It was just July of 10 was just unbelievable.
Yeah, I
remember that. And people looked at the fact that he was an offensive power threat. He was just a threat offensively, but he ran the bases
right very
well. He played tremendous defense very well. He stopped runners from going first to third very well. So his game was complete in that MVP year. Everything that everybody ever thought of Josh Hamilton, they saw in that 1 year. He did it all. He scored from second base twice with the ball not leaving the infield.
Right. Right.
And he's a big guy.
Oh, yeah, he was big.
Yeah.
And he came to me one time and he said, Wash, I can get 30 bags. I said, you're not getting 30 bags here? I said, I'll get you 15. We'll get you 15, and we're going to call your stolen bases. You don't run unless me and Gary call your stolen bases. He didn't need to be falling all over the ground.
No,
but that was a part of his game. We didn't want to take it from him, but he didn't need to get us 30 bags.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But no, he could have.
Yeah, he needed to be in the lineup. He didn't need to be stealing.
Yeah. So, have you? We talked the other day, and you've been paying a little attention to the Rangers. What are you seeing from them?
Well, I've been paying plenty of attention to the Rangers.
Okay. All right.
And I've been paying plenty of attention ever since they hired Bochy. That's what they needed. They needed a leader that garnered total respect. And I'm not saying the ones there before wasn't garnering total respect, but you could see the young talent there, and they needed guidance. And he's a winner.
Yeah.
Chris Young went out and got a winner to lead a group of kids that's fighting to win. And I think they ain't going in the right direction right now. The pitching is doing well. The offense is off the chain right now. I mean, everybody in that lineup is doing something. It's not just one guy. You got that young kid at third base. He's starting to come into his own. You got the catcher. He's starting to come into his own. The center fielder, Tavares. He's been around a couple years, but now he looked like he's turning into a young man and understanding how to play the game. You got Marcus Semien. You got Seager, who's been out, and the guy's been doing well. So there is a lot to look forward to. But the one thing that you do have to understand, it's a long year. And when you talk about being successful, it's not for a week and it's not for a month. You have to be able to sustain for a long period of time. And so far, when they've been knocked down, I've noticed they've gotten back up. And that goes to the staff there and to Boch. I love Boch. I really do. And I think that's the best move over the winter that the Texas Rangers made, bringing Bruce in there, because he's a winner. And people react to him.
You and I have said that many times that the best free agent acquisition might have been Bochy, and now Ron Washington has just confirmed that.
There you go.
I'm feeling like I got knowledge now. Maybe if Ron's agreeing with me, then maybe I make sense every once in a while.
And their pitcher coach is all right.
If you look, the truth is right in front of your face. Just that sometimes people refuse to say what they see, and I've always been a proponent of, if I see something, I will say something.
Yes, you will. Their pitching coach is all right.
Yeah,
Mike. Welcome home to Mike. He's one of the best, man. I don't think there's many out there that work as hard as Mike and as diligent as Mike and love his players as much as Mike loved his players. So, and you can tell by the way that pitching staff is going about their business. And as soon as you guys are able to get DeGrom to be healthy enough that even if he don't take 32 starts, he can get 28. I guarantee you'll see something special. There's something going on right there in Texas. But like I said, you have to sustain. That's what it's about. You can never be happy with the way things are until things is over. And we have a long ways to go before you can get happy. So you got to take each day as it comes and goes and be the best for each and every one of your teammates that you can be for that day. And hopefully you walk off the field with enough opportunities to win, to have a chance to go further. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, the season's long, because last year you guys came from behind and overtook the Mets. That's just it. You gotta, it's 160.
You gotta keep grinding, and you play for the day and the team that's in front of you. You can't look behind. You only learn from what's behind you. You take what's behind you and you learn from it to make you better for what's ahead of you. But you never look back over your shoulder. You always keep your ass and elbows working. When you out front, all they want to see is ass and elbows. That means you moving forward.
That's right. Hey, before we get you out of here, John is going to ask you a couple I don't know, questions about you. But I mean, I'm sure everybody knows, but we can use a refresher course.
Yeah, I love this stuff. So I kind of do the fun stuff on this side. He always hits you with the hardcore baseball stuff.
That was hard.
So you grew up, you're a New Orleans guy. Everyone knows that. In fact, congratulations, you're going into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, right?
Yes, thank you. You know, I was just a young kid running behind a baseball. I never thought about no Hall of Fame, especially in my state. I was doing what I do because I love doing it. That's playing, coaching, teaching, mentoring, whatever. Because everything that I have, someone gave to me. I didn't earn this all by myself. A lot of stuff that comes out of my mouth is stuff that comes out of my mouth. I may be saying it, but it's stuff I got from all the old guys I was around that, as we said earlier, they saw something, they said something. Some people would take that as them being on you, but I took it as if they see something in me that I need to get out of me if I want to get them off me. If that makes any sense.
Get off my...
Well, you went to John McDonough High School, right? McDonough? Is that how you say that?
Yeah, John McDonough.
John McDonough High School. Did you play any other sports besides baseball?
I played football. I was a quarterback in my senior year. And I really went out for the wide receiver position, but we didn't have a quarterback. And I was a catcher on the baseball team. So they knew I could throw because during baseball season, they saw me throw people out. So in my neighborhood, I played quarterback. You know, but in the neighborhood, I never played control quarterback.
Right.
I was the only guy there that could actually throw the football. So that's how I ended up being a quarterback. So I played baseball and I was a quarterback on the football team.
How much did you throw the ball though? I mean, because
Well, I threw the ball a lot. I had 2 track stars on both ends that were ends, but they didn't have very good hands. So the balls would hit them and they would drop them. But I ended up being second in the league in rushing. Because every time a play came out there, they said 19 wedge. So that means I could take the ball and run around the corner. And I was pretty good at that. And when I seen I couldn't get any further, I went out of bounds.
There you go.
I wasn't letting big boys tear me up.
Now, you ended up going to State College of Florida. That's down in Manatee, Florida.
Right.
Is that right? Now, did you have any other scholarship offers or anything? Or was that really your only choice?
Well, the only reason I went to Manatee Junior College is I signed as a free agent into the Kansas City Royals Baseball Academy. That's how I ended up down there going to school.
Okay.
I might have had a scholarship to go over to University of New Orleans, UNO, but I signed professionally with the Kansas City Royals to go to this baseball academy. Right. So I learned my baseball on the chalkboard, and they would run plays on the chalkboard, and then we would go out on the field and apply it on the field. So that's how I ended up going there, and I went to a year and a half of college there at Manatee Junior College. And after school, we would come back to the academy and we would work baseball. That was in 1970. 1971 was my rookie year. So I went out in 70, but I didn't play until 71 professional baseball.
And you were a catcher.
Right.
Yeah.
But then you tore up your knee, right? You got in a collision or something.
No, I was a catcher. And when I got to AA, I didn't get any bigger and I could run. And they thought that if they would have left me behind the plate when I got to AA and I had a collision at home plate, it could have ended me. So the Kansas City Royals moved me to the infield. I tore up my knee in 1977 with the Dodgers.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, so this is always I love this question because it happened late in the season. But September 10th, 1977, you made your major league debut for the Dodgers. And so I always love this story. I want to know, how did you find out you were going to be a big leaguer? Who told you and where were you? How'd that happen?
Well, we was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I was out to lunch. And when I got back from lunch, there was a note on my apartment door that said that you was called up to the Dodgers. So I ended up calling the Dodgers minor league system, which was run by Bill Sweppy at the time. And he told me that I was getting called up to the big league. So I packed my stuff. I called my family, let them know what was happening. And back then, it's not like these kids today. They come to the big leagues, families in the stands.
Right.
So I went to the big leagues. There was no way I could get my family there because I didn't have any money.
Yeah.
So all I could do was let them know that I was going to the big leagues. My mom and my dad, I was from a family of 10. My dad worked 7 days a week. My mom was taking care of kids. So there was no way they could drop anything and come out to LA. I mean, come out to LA. I couldn't afford tickets for them to come out to LA, even though I got called up to the big leagues, but I was only making pennies in the minor leagues.
Right.
Well, these guys today, you know, it's different. I mean, guys in the minor leagues, they making $90,000. I mean, I was making $2,500 a month. They're making $90,000 now. And you add that by 6, that's $13,000 or $14,000 for the whole year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$90,000. Now, if I was making $90,000, I could have flew some people out there. But yeah. And my first game, I faced the same guy I faced for the first time that I went when I got called up to AAA.
Oh,
so
really?
I was fortunate when Tommy Lasorda put me in that lineup against the Padres. He was the same guy. I got my first hit off of AAA, so I wasn't afraid of him, and I ended up getting 2 knocks off him anyway.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I mean, you had some great managers, Wash, in your career.
I did. Tom Kelly, you know, Tommy Lasorda, of course. Doc Edwards in Cleveland. You know, Ripken Sr. in Baltimore.
Yeah.
You know, I had John Hart, who was my AAA manager.
AAA manager, yeah.
John used to make a lineup up and put on the board, and it was only one name on it.
You.
That's right. Because he knew I was ready to play. And I'm serious. He had one name on the card. And then when everybody else came in, he had to find out how they was. It didn't matter how I was because he knew I was going to play. And I mean, these are the type of people that influenced my career. Buzzy Keller, the first guy I met at the baseball academy. I remember flying into Sarasota the very first time I left home thinking that I was going to Kansas City. And the plane landed in Sarasota. And I'm saying, what am I doing in Sarasota? I thought I was going to Kansas City. That's how naive I was.
Yeah.
I stepped off the plane. It was about 15 of us. And Buzzy Keller, his first statement to us was, you got 1 foot on the ground and 1 foot on the first step of the airplane. And I talked to this guy from Detroit. He said, what is he talking about? I knew what he was talking about. I said, if you don't have your stuff together, and I didn't say stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't have your stuff together, he's telling you you're going to be back on the plane going home.
Yeah.
I ain't worried about what he's talking about.
Yeah, John Hart told me a story, Wash, that you went to AAA. You thought you should have made the team, and you told him, I'm a major league player. I'm going to be out there every day, and I'm not going to be here very long.
Exactly what I told him.
Yeah.
When I first arrived in Miami, where they had their spring training, and it was time for me to sign the contract, I told him and Tom Giordano, that's who was in there. I said, I'm a major league player. I'm not a AAA player. I'm going to sign this contract, but I want you to know you got a major league player here. I'm not going to be here very long. And I wasn't.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, Ron, what do you do in your spare time? I mean, I know you're going all the time, but do you play golf? Do you fish?
No,
hunt?
I don't play golf. Most of the time, you know, I'm doing a bunch of honeydews around the house. You understand, I'm gone for so long. And when I get back, there's a lot for me to do. The past couple of years, I've done some clinics with some kids come in from high school kids come in from around the country that wanted to get some infield work. Last year, of course, I tried to get Von Grissom ready to be able to come into spring training and compete. And I did that. You know, to become a major league shortstop or major league player, it takes time. It's a process. You got very, very, very few special people that comes out of playing maybe a couple years of baseball and able to strive at the major league level. Even though the kids are coming young, it's still the big leagues.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get here, but it's tough to stay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's great. Hey, you're a New Orleans guy, so that is Cajun your favorite food? What kind of food is your favorite food?
Well, I love dirty rice. I love gumbo. I love stuffed peppers. My wife does stuffed peppers a little different than most people. We don't use ground meat. She just used crab meat and shrimp.
Oh man!
And
oh my gosh!
I don't know. One of these days, you guys are gonna have to taste her peppers.
Jerry's gotta make me some of those.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But I'm not a real spicy guy.
Yeah,
so
you don't like
when
the
we
spice,
do have company over, my wife do a special side dish for me because I can't handle all that spice. Even though I grew up in it, my brothers. I remember when I was in Mexico, I used to bring peppers home. Those strings of peppers that they got down there, and I used to find the hottest ones, and those guys could sit there and just eat them off the stem. I can't do that. I can't put hot stuff in my food.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite home cooked meal that she makes?
Sounds like those peppers.
Yeah,
those peppers and gumbo. I mean, she can do some gumbo. And I'm not talking about gumbo with gizzards and all that stuff in it. I'm talking about real gumbo with shrimp, crab, gizzards. The works.
Dang it, Wash. Making
People make gumbo. People make gumbo now any kind of way they want to. They throw anything in it. Well, our gumbo is not anything being thrown in it. It's the right ingredients. And we go get those ingredients early. We freeze them. So, because there's a lot of people out there going after those ingredients.
Yeah.
So we already have a lot of it on stock. And when it's time to make it, she got everything she needs.
There you go.
Awesome. That's awesome. Hey, listen, we're going to get you out of here. And we always ask one question at the end. It's one we ask everybody. We always get some really great answers. It's what's something that nobody knows about Ron Washington? We've had some funny ones from John Daniels, who told us he had airplane underwear. He said he used to have 2 pair of underwear, one that he wore on the flight and one that he wore on the flight home. And he said, I have this weird thing, airplane underwear. He said, it's always worked. I'm still here. Is there anything that nobody knows about Ron Washington that you ought to tell us?
Well, it's not as like
we don't
John.
have to get underwear, right?
Yeah. What I like him to know is when we traveling, I don't want to be bothered when I get on the bus, and I don't want to be bothered when I get on the plane. I tell the stewardess I'm low maintenance. When I sit in my seat, and you see me covered up, leave me alone. And the same thing on the bus. When I get on the bus and I lay back, those guys know not to mess with me. I mean, I'm coming down because I'm so far out there during the game that when the game ends, I'm coming down. And when I managed in Texas, the stewardess knew just what to do. When they saw me get my seat and I covered up, they left me alone. When I wasn't covered up, then they came around and found out if there's anything I wanted to do. And I always told them, I'm low maintenance. If I need anything, you'll know. And if I don't need anything, guess what? You'll know.
Hey, I got one more for you. You just had a birthday a couple weeks ago, 71. How much longer are you going to do this? You don't seem like you're slowing down.
My brains is working, as long as I don't have dementia. As long as I can continue to make a difference in these young kids' lives, as long as my energy level is where it is, I'm going to do it. I mean, the other day we were in Kansas City and Willie Mays Aikens showed up and he said, Jesus, Wash, what you doing out there at third base at 70 years old? I said, Willie, if you wouldn't have just told me I was 70 years old, I wouldn't know. I'm just coming to the ballpark preparing just like these players to go out there and be the best I can be for the position that I'm in, which is the third base infield coach. I never think about my age. I really don't. Yeah, I'm 70 years old. I feel things just like everybody else that's 70 years old. But I have a purpose. And my purpose is to make certain that I'm prepared to do what I am expected to do. And as long as my mind and my body and my soul allows me to do that, I'm going to do it. Why would I give up something I love? I love it. And I haven't slowed down. I mean, to the point where I'm not doing my job. Yes, I've slowed down. I'm a little quicker. I was a little quicker when I was 55 years old. The other day in Miami, the guy threw me a little birthday cake party thing. And they was asking me again about being at third base. I say, one thing you don't have to worry about. There will not be any baseball in baseball that will take me out. When I leave third base, I'm leaving third base on myself. I will not be leaving third base because the baseball took me out.
Well, Wash, I mean, you're the best manager in Rangers history.
Absolutely. And I'm saying this as a guy who has followed the Rangers since 1974. I'm a fan. I was at the World Series games as a fan, so you know how exciting this is for me. The best manager in Texas Rangers history I got to talk to today, and my wife's excited. She's like, tell him to do one of the waving his arms and beating on. She loved it.
He doesn't have the room.
Well, I thank you guys, and I tell you, what made my opportunity there so great is the players that I had. And the way they love to come to the ballpark and play, the way John Daniels and them treated me and gave me the opportunity to do my own thing. My coaching staff, the fans, the medical staff. I felt that when I was managing in Texas, that people just couldn't wait to get to the ballpark to watch those guys play. And it was them.
That's true.
It was them. All we did was gave them an opportunity to go out there and show what they can possibly do. And they did it for me every day that I was there.
Awesome.
Well, that's awesome. Hey, and Monday, I can't wait to meet you in person. I'll come down there by the dugout and meet you in person. But this has been fantastic, Ron. We thank you so much for taking time to do that. I know you got a busy schedule as a coach, especially in any major league coaching staff. It's a busy schedule. To stop down and do this is fantastic, and it's been great for me. Anything else?
No, you got a ballpark to get to, so get to it, man.
It's been great for me, too. I'm always open to talking baseball, especially with good friends like you, Jeff.
All right, I appreciate that, Wash. You're a
All right.
good man.
Ron Washington, third base coach for the Atlanta Braves, former Texas Ranger manager. Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
All right, take care. Once again, big thank you to Ron Washington for joining us on the Frisco Rough Rider hotline and coming on us with the Zoom call. That was great and fantastic, but it is time to go down in the bus leagues. Let's start at the lowest level. That's how we normally do this.
Yep.
Let's go to the Down East Wood Ducks, who are playing well. They're in first place. They're 17-11, 7-3 of their last 10. They have lost one. Who do we need to talk about there? Porter?
Well,
pitching?
yeah, they're doing it with pitching. Brock Porter has been very good. Velocity is starting to creep up. It's not that he's been hurt or anything. It's just he hasn't pitched for a while. So,
Yeah.
And he's figuring things out. It's his first professional debut and all that stuff.
I think they'll have him on about 80 to 100 innings, maybe.
Yeah, that's about right. Another guy, interesting guy, is Aiden Curry, who, like Josh Stephen at Hickory, was signed as a free agent for $20,000 after the 2020 draft.
Right. For all the people that there were only 5 rounds.
Yeah, 5 rounds, and so they were free agents, and there still are. You can still sign guys up to $20,000, but no more than 20. But anyway, he's one of them. If you look at his career ERA, it's like over 6.
Right.
But right now it's 3.8. He's striking guys out. He's a long, lanky guy. Likes to throw the football around.
Right.
You saw that numerous times at spring training this year. So it's a good mix. The bullpen has some more veteran guys that know their way around, so they can hold a lead. The offense is starting to pick it up. Our buddy Cam Cauley has lifted his average almost 100 points from where it was. He's still, I think he's at like 247, 250, but he was down. He was pretty low down. And Yosi Galan, the interesting guy I wrote about last year, he's really started to pick it up. He's got a ton of power, and he's an older guy.
He's cut too. He looks
built like a
brick shithouse. Is that what you
there
call
you
it,
go.
or
Sure,
whatever?
sure.
Yeah. He is stout.
He is, and he still has a lot of flaws. I mean, he's repeating it at low A, so
Right.
that might tell you something. But
He's got some swing and miss.
he's picked it up here the last week or 2 weeks.
Well, this is a good minor league system.
Yep.
But right now, the minor league system isn't playing well.
Oh,
when
no.
you start at AA, or when you start at Hickory, they're 12-16.
Okay.
They are 2-8 in their last 10,
That's
and they have
not
lost
good.
5 in a row.
Yeah.
Now, one upside has been Rocker, who has been really good. He did get hit around the other night, but I think it was one bad inning. He actually started out scoreless and then lost a little control. I think Scott Lucas wrote something about how he had watched the whole thing because they were playing away and they were able to watch it, and I didn't see it. But they still like what they're seeing from Rocker, and I don't think he's long for single A.
Yeah, I would think kind of that first 2 weeks of June to be a good target area for him to kind of think about getting promoted to a double A, a little bit higher challenge. Dane Acker is going to go to Hickory. There had been talk about him going to Frisco when he got healthy, but he's going to go to Hickory. It's where he finished last season, and it kind of makes sense, to kind of slow play it a little bit with his injuries, and nothing major, just nagging stuff in his biceps area, shoulder area. So, but he's throwing and doing things and hasn't had any setbacks. So he's probably going to be end of the month down there in Hickory.
At the plate, have they had anybody that stood out? I mean, they've got some good guys there.
I think we've mentioned Max Acosta,
who's kind of finding it this year.
Coming around. I wrote about him last week at RangersToday.com. $5.99 a month, $60 for the year, $35 for 6.
Yes.
6 months, not 6 years. He's older. He signed at 19 and didn't play. 20, nobody played because of the pandemic. 21, he was in the complex league, had thoracic outlet syndrome,
right?
Had to have surgery. Comes back last year without a normal off season, plays the full season at low A and does okay. Had some moments. This year he's had a full healthy off season. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's hitting the ball harder. It's going a little further,
right?
And he's a little older. I mean, he's mature. He's been through stuff, and so it's a good sign. He was a top 10 prospect,
right?
In the farm system, the Rangers went and got some guys,
right?
Some middle infielders, Justin Foscue, Duran and Josh Smith. Luis Angel Acuna has blossomed. So there are Cam Cauley. There's another one.
Yeah.
So.
Supposed to go to Texas Tech. He's been a friend of the show too. He came on.
There are some other middle infielders that might be taking away some attention from Acosta. Not just middle infielders. I mean, just better players. But he's showing up, and it's been pretty good.
All right. Well, let's go to Double A.
Double A.
This is the most talented team according to Jim Callis in all of baseball. Although they're scuffling.
Yeah.
They're 13-17, 3-7 in their last 10. They've lost 5 in a row. We went out and saw Leiter last night.
Yeah.
Again, he had another good outing. He gave up 1 run in 5 innings. Again, when he plays around the strike zone, it plays better. Corey Seager said that.
Yeah. It was pretty interesting what he said to us afterward, and it's going to be available. It's on the YouTube channel, but also it'll be Friday on the Farm this week. He's sounds like he got tired of being mediocre.
Right.
He said that he was pitching with the mindset of it's player development. And he's just developing. But now he's kind of said he's had a mindset switch to where he is competing.
Right.
And
he wants to win.
It's made the difference, and it's been recent. It's been 3 straight starts. The Rangers have also kind of said, hey, be more competitive in the strike zone. Don't worry about the results. Trust your stuff, that kind of thing. And it's been it's shown through. I was surprised that his pitch count got as high as it did last night for 5 innings. But he threw, majority of strikes. His strike percentage in the last 3 starts is in the probably about 65%, which is a big deal. It was like 56, let's say, those first 4 starts of the season. All right, so that's 7 to 9%, let's say. That's a big deal. That's less stressful pitches. That's quicker outs. It's just being ahead and being able to do what you want to do. He touched 98 a few times.
Yeah, I saw that last night on the board.
And maybe it was a little more. Who knows what the accuracy of that gun? But he feels better, and he's in a good mindset right now.
Yeah, he
used the word excited several times. So that's good, because I know some people have some angst about what the number 2 overall pick in the draft 2 years ago has been doing or not doing. Everybody's development path is different,
and he's healthy.
But at some point they have a light bulb goes off, and it works
for those that get it. For those that get there, they get.
They can't all be Ken Griffey Jr. and Dwight Gooden. Right. It takes time a lot of times, and so
they're facing better hitters than they've ever faced in their life.
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah.
I mean, from high school, college, and the SEC, he's facing people that are here to play pro baseball.
Yeah, and they're doing different stuff. They're traveling different. The travel's different. The schedule's different. He's only pitching once a week. It's just everything's different. You're on your own.
Right.
You don't have a college team to fall back on and the safety net that college provides. You're on your own, and
right.
So
I was
anyway,
impressed the way he talked. Though.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I hadn't heard him talk like that yet. And then
and he was pissed they lost last night.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Look, he had a great game, and it wasn't his fault they lost." But he was like, "And we ended up losing. And that sucks." He kind of said something to that effect because he wants to win, and that's kind of where his mindset is I want to help the team win. It's not about development anymore.
Yeah, and then Frisco's found some creative ways to lose here lately, and that was another one of them. But
Carter hadn't played in 2 games.
Yeah,
we saw him after the game.
Yeah, he talked to us, and he got hit in the wrist on a pickoff throw.
Yeah, sliding back into the base or something.
Similar to where he'd gotten hit by a pitch a few weeks ago.
He's fine. He's not really injured
sore
at all. Yeah,
he can play. I saw him hit in the cage, so it's not like he's down. He's probably.
I think he was scuttling a little bit too.
He probably has played since we recorded this. He's but obviously a very good kid.
They gave him 2 days off in a row, and I think he had kind of scuttled a little bit because he got up to such a hot start in April.
Right.
And then, but like every player in baseball, you just go through a stretch where the ball doesn't look this big anymore, and it's starting to figure out, or they get a little scouting report on you or whatever, and he'll make the adjustments. He was certainly in a great mood. He didn't seem upset at all, or nothing was going on. We saw Acuna hit a bomb last night, hit another home run. You got to talk about Sajasi, who before the game I was talking to him. He was hitting batting practice. He was wearing a batting glove. He never wears a batting glove. And he was wearing a right-handed batting glove, and he was coming off the field, and I said, why are you wearing that's always weird. Right-handed batting glove when you bat right-handed, no left-handed. He goes, man, look at my fingers. And he had blisters all over his fingers that were getting all over. But he ended up during the game, he does not wear a batting glove.
That's true.
He just did it during that. But he was grinning, talking about coming back on again.
Yeah.
Doing that. Owen White's going to come back on again. He loves to come on and talk to us. And he said, oh, yeah, call me. I'm ready to get back on. But those guys they're having fun there. I know they're not winning, but those guys they all look good in what they're doing. And guys, I know they sponsor us, but go out to Frisco. You talk about a cheap way to entertain your family.
Oh yeah, there are a lot of little kids there. Yesterday.
Oh, they're all over. Go sit on that berm. Kat and I used to go out there with a blanket when the kids were little. Let them roll down the hill and do all that stuff while we'd have a beer and watch the game. And it's not that expensive, guys. It's really a cheap entertainment.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Round Rock AAA. They're 21-14. They are 4-6 in their last 10. They've also lost 4 in a row. So we've had lost 1, lost 5, and lost 4.
That's not good.
But if we're going to talk about somebody there, you got to look at someone like Bradford or Foscue.
Yeah. I mean, Cody Bradford continues to pitch out of his mind.
He'll have to be put on the 40.
He dropped his ERA back under 1 with his start a couple days ago. And then Foscue is surging after I think he was 0 for 14 to start the season.
Right.
He's definitely trending the right way. It's power.
He's got over 1,000 OPS in the last
month or so,
something like that.
He is hitting. He's stealing bases.
Yeah.
He's got 5 steals. This is a guy. Both of those guys will have to go on the 40-man roster at some point this year to avoid being lost in the Rule 5 draft in December. So, those guys are the stars. Sam Huff was having a nice little resurgence before he got called up. We like a lot of the guys down there. So
we need to plan a trip to Round Rock.
And it is interesting. Kyle Cody's been working multiple innings. He's started a couple games. I still think that he can help the major league team at some point. Joe Barlow is is going to be back with the Rangers. I would assume, my guess, in a month, the velocity keeps creeping back up. And something that somebody said to me that's pretty interesting. They think that the adrenaline of just being in the major leagues will add another mile per hour or two to the fastball.
I can imagine.
But it's been good. That bullpen's good, and that's one reason why the Rangers didn't go crazy in the offseason on the bullpen, is because they thought they had a lot of good arms that would be at AAA, and that's happened. And Glenn Otto is going to be coming back. His wife just had a baby the other day, so a boy. Congratulations to them. But he should be nearing the point where he's getting back into game action, and it's a good situation because they really need depth. They really with Dunning now in the rotation, and Cole Winn not quite there yet.
What's the word on him? Is they still liking what they see, even though the numbers aren't there?
Honestly, the Rangers think that Winn and Leiter are both really close to being where they need to be. Some of it with Cole has been making the wrong pitch selection at the wrong time, but they're pitching better than their numbers would indicate. I know when we saw Jack, and we just talked about him pretty extensively, but Cole is almost there. Yeah. They really feel confident that he is about to turn a corner. But he is on the 40-man, which makes him, at some point an option, you would think.
Yeah.
But he does need to pitch a little bit better. But
you can't do it. You got to prove it at AAA before you come up to the big leagues.
Yeah, Cody Bradford is doing that.
Yeah.
And then keep in mind the Pacific Coast League, they just crush the ball. It seems like there's a
high altitude.
Every ballpark is a hitter's park, even Round Rock, and he's just not giving up anything. And so it's
you do not have to throw 100 miles an hour to be a good pitcher.
Change speeds and make it go different ways, and you're going to be around the strike zone, and you're going to be in good shape.
Greg Maddux never hardly threw in high 80s. Maybe he'd touch 90, 91.
When he was younger, he was in the 90s, but it was movement and changing speeds.
Boy, his ball danced around on there.
Yeah.
Well, anything else down in the bus leagues?
I don't think so.
Maybe we need to get out to one of these shows and do them out at Frisco before they get out of town. That might even be something we can look at next week. We'll see. We talked about doing these things on Friday. That might be something. They're in town, right?
They are. Yeah.
So we're not. That's not in stone yet, guys. We're looking at that.
We're just spitballing here.
We're spitballing here, but that might be something we can do. In any case, I think this one is about in the books.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks to the Rough Riders, and then thanks to Ron Washington.
Absolutely for doing it, and thanks to Premier Properties for providing the studio here for a place for us to come and talk. And guys, we always appreciate you and the listening. The numbers have been fantastic. Can't thank you guys enough for listening to the show and watching the show on YouTube. Go follow it on YouTube.
Absolutely. Just subscribe to Rangers Today.
Absolutely, guys. Guys, we're out of here. Next week, this is episode number 82. Next week, we think we have someone lined up. We're not going to confirm that yet. But once we get out here next week. But until then, Monday will be that, and we'll see you at the yard.